Hello, world. Welcome back to the Put Out Podcast. This is episode 3. I was wondering if you knew.
Yeah,
We're
oh
keeping
yeah.
count.
Oh,
We've
yes,
done so
sir.
many of them. It's easy to
I know, losing track.
lose. Yes, exactly. So, welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about anything we want to be talking about, and that's the freedom of that we have under God. So, lucky us.
That's right.
Anyway, so I wanted to say, Popa, you've talked many times about the importance and where does the line of being a grandfather come in this new world we live in where, I don't know, how would you say that when it comes to the role that a dad or a grandfather has with the young men that they are over?
I would say it would be, the word would come to mind first of all was, what is the purpose of living in the time that you live in, at what point of life and season of life that you live in. So when you're younger, you have a different responsibility in, if you're to honor your mother and father when you're living with your parents. You should always do that anyway. And then as you get older and you get married, now part of your responsibility and purpose is to serve your family, your wife, your children when you have children. And as you get older, then it shifts to having, what purpose do I have here? Because now you've done the job that God put me in that position to not lord over, but to take care of. And now I have the time and the experience that I didn't have before. What do I do with that?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you were mentioning the different parts of our life. We got, right now I'm 44. So I have the kids, I have the wife, I have the home, I got the parents, I got the grandparents. I have mom, but I don't have a dad. But I have you. You are my wife's grandpa.
Right.
Nobody knows that. Anybody watching, even if you know us, you don't
That's right.
know. But anyways, what I was going to say is,
I'm actually his grandpa too.
that's right, by law,
Whether he likes it or not.
and we respect the law.
That's right.
Yes, but what I was going to say is, you've been in my
And then it's
shoes.
not man's law.
No, it's not. Under
No,
God.
No, under God.
But
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's right. Justice for all. And you're innocent, completely innocent, until proven guilty.
That's right.
So just because you've heard my name lately doesn't mean I'm not innocent right now. But anyways, what I was going to say is, you've been in my shoes where you weren't the grandfather. Many moons ago, you were just a dad, and you were, had a couple of runts, a few runts, wondering, gosh, how are these kids going to turn out? And you're working with them, and you're trying to, guide them in the direction that you would like to see them in, at the same time knowing they're their own person and they're going to do what they want to do. My kids are 11 and 12, and so they're very close in age. 11-year-old boy, 12-year-old girl. When they were very young, they're already very young, but when they were younger, Isaiah wanted to be Indiana Jones. And I said, perfect. Indiana Jones is an archaeologist. That's something cool that you could do. You could go to college and become an archaeologist. And he goes, and he's a hustler. He wants to know how he could get the most money. And me being who I am, I don't have the real answer of how can you get the most money. There's a person that he could talk to that I've never met before that could teach him how to make $1 million within 10 years very easily.
I want to know that guy.
Right, exactly.
Who is this guy?
Yeah. And we've all,
Let's just talk about that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could talk all about him.
Yeah, I'd like
We've
that.
dreamt about this guy very many times.
So is he real?
He's a real guy,
Ah,
and maybe you're one of them. You might be one of these guys.
wow. Or potentially one of those guys.
Potentially one of those guys.
And that's kind of the purpose why we're here.
Yes.
To point potentiality amongst ourselves, but maybe it can go out, touch others.
That's right. And so
That's the only reason for doing this, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
The whole point, yes.
Right.
Is we're making a record
And we're putting it out.
and we're putting it out. And so you guys could judge us, and we allow that. We love it. And if you want to talk S, go ahead and talk S in the
Yeah.
comments, and we'll see it and laugh together. And it would be no big deal. But
That's
anyways, bringing back to the boy, he wanted to be Indiana Jones. So I'm like, archaeologist, you can do that. He says, how much do they get paid? It's like, what about being Indiana Jones? Who cares, And so I look online, and you ask Google these questions, and I say, how much does an archaeologist get paid in California? And it goes anywhere from $110,000 to $150,000 a year. Where in my head, I'm like, well, I know about archaeologists that are with certain companies, and they find a big old pot of gold off the beaches of the Pacific Ocean, and they get a lot more than $100,000 a year, because you know what I mean. It depends on where you're working
and the risk level.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I told my boy, I said, well, off the bat, you'll be getting paid X amount of money. But if you get with the right company and they have this big research vessel or a big treasure map and they know I said, you could be like Indiana Jones. But anyways, so my thought process is this. You've been there, but you've also been a little boy. And this is what I want to know. You told me a story that I want you to share with everybody because it's a really, really cool story.
Uh-oh.
And it's a ridiculous story, too. I love that it is ridiculous. And it's asinine, and that's why I love it. But I want you to get there.
Hope I remember it.
Oh, you'll remember it completely. Because it happened to you, not me. But it's the water story when you went into the Delta.
Oh,
but you're not talking about that yet.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. I see it right now.
Okay, and so we're gonna get to this story. So buckle up. It is the coolest story.
There's a lot of cool stories.
There's a lot of cool stories.
But this is a cool story.
Yes. And but what I want you to do is tell people where you were born ish and what kind of family life did you have? Because then you were that child, you became that parent, you became that grandparent and great grandparent. But how was it when you were the child and you had a dad and you had grandparents and you had great grandparents maybe? So when you were a kid, what do you kind of remember about that? Like the structure, even when you're playing outside, how was it when you were a kid?
All right. Wow, you front loaded it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you want me to unpack it? I can go into the weeds.
Yeah, and you could do that. Go into the weeds.
All right.
We're gonna do this for I think 40 minutes. And,
wow!
Not your story, the whole thing.
No.
We're gonna be sitting here for a while. So
okay, we can always reference it back some other time in some other venue.
Oh, we will. Yeah.
But so here's the bottom line is, my parents immigrated to the United States when my mom was pregnant with me. They were one of the last groups to go through Ellis Island, where they were vetted to become citizens, but they weren't citizens. They had to be sponsored at that time. So they were given basically a green card, what they would refer to as a green card, but they had to go through channels of sponsorship, which my mother's sister married a American GI. She moved to the United States after the Second World War.
So she moved first over.
Yeah. She was here because they got married and he lived in New Jersey, and so my mother and my father got married, and had I have two older brothers that were born in Germany, and basically the city my father grew up in was completely firebombed, kind of like Dresden. Completely wiped out. There was no building standing. Everything they killed close to 20,000 people in like overnight bombing raid. My father.
Where was it?
in Germany, Kassel, Kassel.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, they were sponsored, which means a sponsor has to guarantee to the U.S. government, the immigration department, that the person they're sponsoring has a job, has a place to live, and also is enrolled in a school to learn the language so they can assimilate into the culture. Because without learning the language, without having some kind of vested not only interest, but putting a little bit of horsepower behind it, what makes America great, that's going out in the weeds a little bit, is we're Americans. We can maintain our old cultures and traditions from the countries that we came from, but we are as Americans on a different level. That's how we interact with one another.
Mm-hmm.
You can go off on a tangent today. It's everybody can do their own thing. You don't have to assimilate, and there are problems that are associated with that. But that's not for a discussion today.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so they came through Ellis Island. My two older brothers came over on the boat with my parents. My mom was pregnant with me, and then I think about 5 or 6 months later, I was born. So I was the first American. Growing up, we, my parents. I can go into what they were doing, but I don't think that's really necessary as far as what my job's vocation was, and my mom. But they did work hard to provide for us a nice home. It was always comfortable. It was always warm. There was a lot of love, but it was not easy, especially for my father, because he had a hard time when he worked. Back then, there was the Cold War. That was in the 50s, the early to mid 50s, all the way into late 50s. The Cold War meant that Germany was the enemy in the Second World War. So Germans weren't really looked upon as, the wonderful people that you want to embrace. However,
We had a new quiet enemy, right?
well, no,
I mean the Soviets.
well, not
Not yet.
immediately at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So what I always struggled with that is that because there were many people in the U.S., that citizens of the United States, Americans, that didn't hate Germans. They actually thought Germans are very industrious. They're very smart. They bring a lot of horsepower to the table. You got they have brought a lot of technology and
Mm-hmm.
know how to do things. So, however, the war tainted that aspect of what you are as a German. But then you have the ones that were ignorant, and they were so easily would attach the word Nazi. So we were called Nazis going to school. You're a Nazi. It's like I didn't know what a Nazi was, but it didn't sound good because they always said it in a very derogatory and a nasty way.
You mean you were so young you didn't really know
No,
that
and
yet?
at first I didn't learn how to speak English until I was like in first, second grade. I wouldn't speak.
Yeah.
I went to kindergarten, first grade, second grade, kindergarten. All it's like when you watch a Charlie Brown cartoon. Whenever an adult spoke, was wah 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 wah.
Yeah.
And that's all I heard. Wah
Yeah.
wah wah wah. So if they said everybody get up and go to the bathroom, all I heard was wah 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 wah.
You see the other kids
And
moving,
then
you're
everybody
like,
gets
I
up
guess
and goes
I'm-
to the bathroom.
Guess I'm supposed to move.
So yeah.
Get up, yeah.
Oh, they go to the bathroom. Okay,
Yeah.
so wah, 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 wah. So bathroom sounded like bathroom.
Yeah.
So that's how I learned. It's like child learns language more quickly than
Immersion.
an older
Yeah.
person.
Mhm.
So anyway, long story short, it was
And this was New Jersey.
this was New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was New Jersey a big economic powerhouse as it is now, being such a small place, but has so much power?
Well, the power, the military industrial complex, back in the day, and that's what Eisenhower said: beware of the military industrial complex. There was a lot of the brain power that was brought after the Second World War. So there was, if you know anything about history, at the end of the Second World War, the Russians and the Americans both did the brain grab.
Right.
They would get
Yep.
the scientists. Werner von
With
Braun.
was a
Werner von
Nazi.
Braun was the
Yeah.
the, the rocket scientist who
So that was during Operation Paperclip, where we brought over literally thousands of the smartest
yeah,
Nazis,
right.
and Russia did too. We split them up and said, "We'll take these, you take those," and
Pretty
we're gonna,
much,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's a little deeper than that.
But New Jersey had to do with some of that.
Oh, it had a lot to do with that because you had Einstein in those days.
Was he from? That's what I'm saying. Why was New Jersey? I'm
why
saying that was a big.
why
part
was it
of
a magnet?
Yeah,
Yeah, because it had established itself back in the colonial days as they built a lot of universities back even before the start of the history of 1776. I went to Rutgers University. Rutgers University was called the Queen's College. It was started in 1766, so 10 years before the founding of the United States, the Declaration of Independence, all that stuff. So anyway,
wow.
it was a magnet. You had Thomas Edison. He had his laboratories in New Jersey. You had
Okay.
Marconi, the first wireless intercontinental signal that was sent. I grew up at this right at the river. It's called Shark River Hills, Neptune, New Jersey.
It's called what?
Shark River Hills.
Shark River. Okay.
So it was basically I don't know what's it called, a tributary, or it was about 2 miles from the ocean, a river. And where I grew up, right across the river, you can use your slingshot and hit the tower. The Marconi, the first tower that they used to do the transcontinental
okay.
wireless signal
Mm-hmm.
to somewhere in England or whatever it was,
Wow.
was sent from there. So you had Edison, Marconi. There's dozens of other influential smart people, the intelligentsia, that brought a lot of technology.
Like tomorrow's technology.
Yeah,
Was from
was
there.
pretty
Okay.
much there. Yeah, Princeton University. You had a lot of smart stuff going on.
Okay, so you were a kid, and
Right.
you were a kid, and you're being brought up in this kind of world. You know nothing else about any other state because you're just a little kid. People are. How old were you when you started hearing the word Nazi? Because you didn't know about it because they're not like, hey, not the. Whenever a war is over, people want to stop talking about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, we're good. Until years later, it gets in the history books, and then we all learn about it. But I'm sure right after the World War II, this state knew we're bringing in a lot of Germans. There's going to be a lot of German kids. Let's shut up about the whole Nazi thing a little bit. But obviously, like you said, there's unintelligible, ignorant idiots out there.
It's what it is.
And kids are like that.
Yeah.
I was one of them. And
Yeah.
not calling people
Well,
Nazis.
it still exists today.
Right, of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's because
it's
it's our human frailty, or we're kind of messed
Well,
up.
the new Nazis now is like Tucker Carlson. Ben Shapiro told me that Tucker Carlson's a
Is he?
Nazi. Yeah,
Is he?
man, of course.
Oh, that's right.
Candace owns too.
Yeah,
big
yeah.
Nazis. But it's just so funny. So it is still happening today. But when you're a kid and I'm growing up there, you're getting into your kind of teenage years. How was it then during kind of like 12 to 15 to, young teenage years?
Well,
What were you up to?
Well, back in the day, so I had two older brothers that paved the way for me, which wasn't always good. They had a reputation. My oldest brother was a shaker and mover, kind of still is in a way, but he's going to be 80 at the end of April.
Is this Dieter?
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what you got to remember, or what if you don't know, Jersey is a concentration of many European groups. You have Poland, people from Poland,
Mhm.
which we call the Polacks.
Yep.
People from Italy, which we call the Wops. You
Mhm.
know, uh, you had Yugoslavia, you had the Russians, you had uh, Czechoslovakia, you had Lithuania,
So a lot of
Latvia, Eastern
yeah.
Bloc. A lot of that stuff were concentrated because Jersey is a small state. It's
Yeah, it
around
is.
roughly the size of Israel. It's about the same size. The highest concentration of Jews in the world, other than Israel, are in New Jersey today. And they pretty much are centralized around Lakewood, and nobody knows about it, and who cares? But you can go there today, and you see a lot of Hasidic Jews, which means they play in they wear their black garb and their
Yeah,
twirly
the
things
twirly
and
hair,
stuff.
which was a
Um,
big part of the Old Testament.
yeah, and I don't want to go into the weeds on that because there's certain things that
We're not going
I don't
to.
have anything against them.
No,
However,
you can't.
if when
You're
you're
a
driving
German.
around there and you see one of those suckers, they are not kind when you're on the
I
highways
know.
and
Yeah,
byways.
yeah,
They
yeah.
will they will
You
rather
know
run
what?
you over.
We won't get into that at all.
I know.
And I also don't want to skip over this story that is just
A
a
story.
beautiful, fun story for any child. Anybody listening, it's an adult. You'll look at this and say that must have been the best day of your life. But okay, I want you to get into it, which we did skip over. Went to when you were a teenager. This happened when you were how old?
What happened?
The waterway.
I was 5.5.
So we skipped way over that. So let's. I just want to. I want you to paint the picture, and before it happened, what kind of day was it? Go ahead.
Okay, so here's how it went. So my oldest brother and his friends would build rafts that we took out on a river, and the river had tides because it was connected to the ocean. So you'd have 2 high tides a day, 2 low tides a day. The high tides would come in. That part of where I lived, you could launch a boat, float around, and then as the tide was going out, it would basically at the end of when low tide, the peak of low tide would hit, you can basically walk, but it was so muddy that you'd sink 2 feet into the muck,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't want to walk on it. But when the tide was in, you'd have 6 feet of water where you can float a boat and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
Awesome.
so you had 2 different. So anyway, they would build rafts, and he and his friends would always go and they'd make paddles, and they'd paddle out into the ocean, into the river, and then sometimes into the ocean, screw around. So I watched them. So they would use a big truck inner tube. Back in the day, most of the tires had inner tubes in them. They didn't have what's it called?
They weren't just beat it against rims. They were
Yeah.
had an inner tube.
What are those things called? Cordless? I mean,
I don't know what they're called now. Just tires.
tires, right?
Tires. Yeah, because there was
Yeah.
nothing in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by
Now
inner
there's
tubes,
not.
big old truck inner tubes. So we take big truck inner tube, get a pallet, strap it to the bottom of the pallet, and then you'd have a platform, and then you can float out. You'd tie it up with rope so that the inner tube wouldn't float out. So I made my own one day.
And this is on the banks of this river
Yeah.
where your brothers and you would get this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm imagining like just this kind of like junked out industrial spot that has a bunch
Yeah,
of
it's a place
stuff.
where we'd play and do all kinds
That's
of stuff.
great. Yeah.
And we used to slaughter the horseshoe crabs, which is I'm not going to talk about. That was
Yeah, how
really
rude.
dumb, totally dumb. But
Yeah,
anyway,
we used to do the same stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
With
spent a lot
frogs. You get if there was a frog around. It'd
of
be
time. How about
sad.
blowfish?
Well,
Yeah.
see, I was never around the ocean.
Yeah, see the blowfish. We let. I better not.
Let's not.
That's not.
We'll talk about it when people
Yeah,
really
another-
know that we're not that bad, and then we'll
Okay.
switch it on. We'll
Yeah,
show them
stupid young children.
how
But
bad we
anyway,
used to be.
so my brother would have pallets, and his friends would always have extra pallets and inner tubes sitting there. So one day I strapped my own, filled up the inner tube, strapped it to a pallet, and it was a nice afternoon. It was about 4 o'clock, and I thought, and the tide was going out, and I thought, oh, what the heck? Couldn't hurt. So I got on this pallet, floating, and I had a stick, and I kind of use it as kind of as an oar,
Yeah,
but didn't
yeah.
really do much. But as the tide would go out, it basically suck you out of through the inlet out into the ocean. So
So the top water is going to bring you wherever it
yeah, I
wants
mean,
to, especially when you're 5 years
the
old with a
whole
stick.
river would empty out
Wow.
at that time at the lowest part, but it wasn't the lowest part. Yeah, it was like an hour or two before it would get to that point.
This is Shark River.
Shark River. So I got sucked out into the ocean, but it was great because I was like, I read some stories about Huckleberry Finn, and I'm like floating out there going, yeah, I'm Tom Sawyer. I'm looking around. I'm going out in the ocean. I'm floated out about a mile over where they had the buoy that would always go bing.
Yeah.
It rocked back and
Oh,
forth and
yeah.
had a bell in it, so you knew it was there. And it would give, when it was foggy out, it gives ships a good idea where the opening of the inlet was. So I floated all the way out there, and it was like pretty late in the afternoon, getting to where it's starting to get a little dark. I'm sitting on this inner tube just going, yeah, it's great. I had no fear because I didn't know. I would, if I didn't. So anyway, this old.
And you're pretty stable, so that'll take away
Yeah.
fear too.
Yeah.
It was built okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of wobbly,
Yeah,
but
but you're a
I
kid,
sat in the
you're
middle of
having
it, and I wasn't
fun.
that dumb. I hung
Yeah.
on to it, and I lost my stick, but what didn't make any difference anyway.
Now you're on for the ride. You don't care.
So
You
I'm
just
sitting there, and all of a sudden I see this guy in this boat, aluminum boat, with an outboard on it.
Yeah.
And I see him coming at me, and he gets closer and closer, and then he gets close, he kills his motor and goes, "Hey kid, what are you doing?" And I was sitting there going, "I'm Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn." And he gets closer and closer. He's kind of just using his oar to get closer.
He doesn't want to scare you.
And he comes up right next to me, and all of a sudden, he grabs me and throws me in his boat like a wet sack of potatoes. And then he takes his big old fishing knife and goes
Oh, I forgot
on
about
my
that part.
inner tube.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, my stinking palate starts to. It didn't sink, but it definitely wasn't buoyant enough to hold me. And he goes, "What are you doing out here?" It's like, "Oh, it's just being Tom Sawyer." And he goes, "I'll show you Tom Sawyer." So he starts up his motor. We go back through Shark River. That's when the tide was coming in, which is good.
Yep.
We went over to the marina. And as we get to the marina, I jump out of the boat, and he jumps out of the boat to tie it up. And he goes, "Hey kid, where are your parents?" And I pointed in a totally opposite direction of where I lived. And I said, "They live out there." And he goes, "Well, hold on." And I thought, well, I lived out there, not there.
Yeah.
So I ran in the direction where I said they lived, and then around the corner I went the opposite way, but he never saw me again. And then I came home like nothing ever happened. So that's the story with that.
Which is cool because where I live, right here, our kids could play basically all day outside.
Right.
There's a lot of talk. You'll hear on podcasts and just all kinds of different talks where, they're like, you can't let your kids play outside anymore. It's sad. And it's totally true. There's most places, any kind of city, you don't want your kids to play outside.
Right.
But I live in a place that's rural enough and friendly enough. The worst thing that could happen is they get eaten and murdered by a mountain lion. Not a big deal.
Yeah, or a bear.
Yeah, so we are actually cognizant of that. Cognizant.
Yeah,
of that.
Aware of, right.
We're aware of the mountain lion threat here and the bear threat. And so the kids they've lived around situations like this their whole life, so they're used to it. But there's not too many weirdos where we live, so that's a good thing. But anyway, so when you were in New Jersey, you got to where you're 16, to 18. What made you say, "I want to go to California"?
I never thought about going to California when I was 16 or 18.
Okay.
I did hear about things about California. Disneyland was in Anaheim, California, right? So that's where Disneyland still is.
Oh, so you heard about Disneyland? You're like, I got to check that place out sometime.
And then the what else? There were a few other things that I heard about California. I can't.
Well, wait. That I just want to say this. That's really interesting to know that, because if that happened to you, that must have happened to very many people. Did the fact that there was a Disneyland is one of the things that attracted you to California.
Well, it wasn't specifically Disneyland, but when Disneyland was tied to that, this California is just a beautiful state, has
Right.
beautiful weather. It's got
Just one of the additions to it.
orange groves, and all the fruits that you see in your supermarkets pretty much come from California. And it's like everything was like big, like bigger than life. Anything that came from California was
You mean produce wise?
produce
Oh, okay.
wise.
Yeah.
People were beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like
And you're seeing the
a lot
movies,
of the
Hollywood, and
yeah, a lot of the trends, especially back in the day, during the hippie days. You had San Francisco, Haight Ashbury, and all that stuff. And back in those days, especially at the beginning of the Vietnam War, you had a lot of protesting and stuff going on against the war. That's later in my high school years. So the Vietnam War started like in '65, pretty much is when it started, the drum beat, and then it went through all the way into the '70s.
That it's funny. I'm 44. I didn't know. I don't really know too much about Vietnam as much as I should. I think it's also because it's such a complex war that there's so many different, and that we're learning about, like, like the Bay of Pigs and like
That was the
these
early '60s.
right.
Yeah.
But these things to try to get us into war. There's
Yeah.
always like this push, like, come on, which is the Eisenhower thing.
The military-industrial
Like,
complex.
it's just, can we please use these weapons?
Yeah.
Can we just get rid of these missiles? I don't
Yeah.
want to throw them in the dirt.
You can't know how they work unless you apply them to
to
something.
people. Yeah, they want to know.
You got to have some kind of way of proving that they work.
Right. Just like when they were doing the nuclear tests, they would build
Yeah.
whole faux cities for the nuclear bomb to hit, and then you just see these videos that we've all seen, of these cities just getting.
Yeah, these buildings disintegrating.
Yeah, and they'll have like a VW bug in the middle of it, so you can see what it does to a car.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times they did that with real people. Like, hey, get those prisoners over
Well,
here.
how many atom bombs were let off?
At all. There's a map of it. I saw it on a.
No, I'm talking about that really affected real live people.
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah.
How many?
Well, you mean how many do we know of?
How many atom bombs were actually used to destroy?
I don't know. There's no
Only
way.
2.
Well, those are the ones we know about. Could there have been? This is just a total This is just a question. Since we know the government literally lies to us all the time, whenever they can lie about something that they could make money off of, or, hey, I heard those guys got 80 tons of gold in a shipping container over there. I can't believe they'd have it in a shipping container. Let's go kill everybody in that building and steal that stuff actually happens. When they went into Iraq, because it's like plunder, right? Pillage, plunder, leave. Get whatever you can get that would make them powerful at all, and get out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
castrate them.
They totally castrate them. And
Right.
so what I'm saying is, like, we never know. I mean, they as far as we know too, but we know they could have used one some other time that we'll never know about. And that's the weirdest thing about it.
I would kind of
You'd think that
slightly
would
cringe that if something like that happened, there wouldn't be some.
It'd be a lot of people.
There's got to be some focus.
Yeah,
on.
you're right. Yeah,
I mean, there's Chernobyl, but that's not an atom bomb. There's just a meltdown of a nuclear plant, right?
There's that one
3
place
Mile
in
Island.
Russia.
Oh.
Where did you see where all the trees got flattened at I want to say what
That's Chernobyl.
No.
No?
Chernobyl, it was a power plant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a nuclear power plant.
Yeah, this isn't Chernobyl. This
Oh.
is a big part of the national forest in I believe Russia, and it just got absolutely flattened like a nuclear bomb hit there. There was no targets. And there was no, they were testing anyways. They would just, if it was them, they would just say, yeah, we just tested one on our tree, see what happened. It's not like we could get them in trouble. We don't mind, you know what I mean? But it was an instance where the government of Russia even said, something happened here. Was it you guys? No, it wasn't us. We don't know. There's no targets, no people, no buildings, just the forest. Boom. And so I'll check that
So
out.
underground testing, maybe.
Maybe, but it looked like it came from above,
Oh,
flat in the
oh,
trees.
it's a spaceship, or
That's right. Maybe it's a big mothership sitting on all the
there
trees.
you go.
Anyways,
Huge. Why
but
not?
all right. So we just went totally sideways and talked about nuclear power. We were talking about. I'm going to bring it back because I'm interested in this thing. When you decided to come to California, where did you go, where did you want to go first?
So I went to Rutgers University. A friend of mine. I shouldn't mention names
That's
because,
fine. Yeah,
well, anyway, he and I went to high school together, and then we both roomed
John Diedrichson.
something
I'm
like
just kidding.
that.
I'm just kidding.
So,
Okay.
he and I roomed together. Went to high school together. Then we roomed together at Rutgers, and so basically it was, hey, you know what? I'm going to transfer to UC Irvine. How about you transfer with me? So I thought, yeah, I mean, I was hanging around a bunch of mafiosa guys that I went to, to Rutgers with. Good people, as long as you're on the right side of the equation. Great people. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't find better, nicer people that take care of you.
Loyal people. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, but the influence wasn't always the best. And I thought, you know what? The other part was maybe, well, I don't know. It can't come back and bite me. But when I was living in Jersey, I had a Volkswagen Bug that I painted all kinds of different fluorescent colors, and I had a big flower on each door.
What year? What around what year?
The early 70s.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a hippie.
Hippie car.
Although
I had short hair,
yeah.
I went to school full time. I didn't do any of that, but I figured, why not?
Oh, you were ready for it.
Yeah.
Though.
So I got pulled over by cops along the Jersey Shore all the time. I was a magnet for cops. Cops hated hippies.
Oh yeah, they did.
Totally. I had one cop, my friend and I, the friend I'm talking about that I went to California with, we were going from Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey, down to the Jersey Shore, Avon, Belmar, that place. It was in the winter. We were studying for exams, and we were doing an all-nighter. And I thought, you know what? Let's get a breather. Let's get in the car and drive down to the shore. And it was like 3:00 in the morning. And it was 10 degrees outside, wintertime.
Yeah.
It was kind of, let's just go. That kind of dumb idea. And Volkswagen Bugs, especially the one I had, a 1960 Bug. Gutless, 36 horsepower.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah. You'd have to, if you drive into the wind, crazy. It barely would break 40 miles an hour.
Oh, my gosh.
Plus, the heaters on those things were pathetic. So we were sitting in a car driving. Freezing. I was driving, a friend next to me. We're driving through this town on the way to the parkway. The parkway is north-south. There's a turnpike and there's a parkway. They kind of parallel each other, the Jersey Garden State Parkway. So I'm going through from Rutgers through East Brunswick. Then I get to the town of Matawan. It's an Indian tribe or something, Matawan Indians. Go through Matawan, Main Street, driving through Main Street to get to the to the parkway. And I'm going down and I see a cop. There's no cars on the road. I see a cop going across. We pass each other. And then I look in my rearview mirror. He makes a U-turn, comes right behind me, puts his lights on.
And you're like, now I know why hippies hate cops.
Oh, man. So he pulls over, and it's colder than crap outside.
He profiled you.
Oh, well, I've got the car with flowers.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's funny. Yeah.
So
I think it's important to be profiled.
License registration. I just let the window down this far just to hand the license and registration, and then other IDs. So I give him my meal ticket for Rutgers because I had a meal ticket. Basically, it wasn't.
Was it just to tell him that you belonged to Rutgers?
Yeah, and then Bob. I better not say his name.
Yeah.
Anyway, my friend.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he goes back to the car. Then he comes out and he does inspection of my lights, make sure my blinkers work and the horn works, the stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Just to be an annoying.
No, he's trying to find a reason he pulled you over.
No, he didn't need one. He
After
already had a reason.
Oh yeah.
He's just messing with us. So then he's like, he's just trying to just egg me on, and
I know you.
well,
Were you back then? Were you?
no, a smart ass.
Yeah.
I've always been a smart ass.
I know. Yeah.
But not like today. No, back then I was a lot more. I wouldn't say.
If you're getting pulled over by the cops,
I had respect.
That's what I'm saying. It was kind of like, whatever you need.
You always respect authority.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
I don't care. I don't care what day and age. You should respect them.
Yeah.
Even though they're not always
correct.
Yeah. So I do have, right. And I learned that
they're a guy with a gun.
If at all possible, avoid anything to do with the man on any level.
That's good.
Because to keep your powder dry, your nose clean.
Well, I'm glad that that's burnt into your head from being a hippie.
Well,
I'm saying that because, like, you say the man, which is just
trust.
An old hippie term when it comes to any government official.
Yeah.
And I just love that because, I mean, everybody wants to stay away from the man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a purpose for them, but, they have overstepped their authorities many a times through history and even current events. It's like, okay, fine. So anyway.
Yeah, so this guy pulls you over. He's checking all your stuff.
So he's doing all this stuff, and so we're there and we're getting ready. We're there for about half an hour, and it's colder and really cold, and he's out there without a jacket on. So he comes back, and I said, "Aren't you cold?" And he goes, "So you think I'm just an effing pig?" It's like, I'm a pig, right? And he starts talking like that. I said, I never said, yeah, that's what you call me. You call me a pig because you're all the same. Yeah, you're just calling us, refer to us as pigs and stuff. I didn't say anything. So long story short, he writes out, gives me a ticket for one of my blinkers not working or something.
That's what I'm saying. He's checking everything. Oh, there you go.
He gives me a ticket, he puts it through the window, and I take the ticket, roll up the window, and then all of a sudden I go, wait a minute, he's got all my ID, he's got my driver's license, he's got my friend's ID and stuff, and he's ready to leave. So I jump out of the car real quick.
Great idea.
Go up to his car, and I go on his window, and I see him. He's in the car. He sees me. Then he puts his leather gloves on, real slow, like this.
Oh, so he already knows what you're doing.
I just wanted.
I know, but he knows right now. He knows he wants his ID back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, "Hey, I need my ID back." He goes, "Okay." So he puts my IDs in his hands, and he flares them out like cards. He goes, "Here you go." And I went to grab him, and he tightens it, and that pissed me off. So I grabbed them real hard, and they go flying everywhere. He gets out of the car. He grabs me by the neck, goes to the front of the car, slams me on the front of the car, choking me, going, "Okay, mother." And he takes his gun out, cocks the hammer back. He's got it stuck in my temple, and he's like pushing it in my temple. And I'm going,
yeah, you're like, please don't kill me right now.
And then my friend, he's sitting there, and my friend never said the S word or anything. Yeah. He's going, "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit."
Yeah, like what?
He's
next?
Bouncing around, going, "Oh shit, oh shit," and he's no help. He's just bouncing around.
No, he's very scared.
Yeah, he's like
Ricochet
time, rabbit.
You're
point.
Scared too. You got it.
But I couldn't talk. I couldn't anything. Another cop, an off-duty cop, drove up in his station wagon in regular car, in regular attire, and he goes, "Hey, Pat." So the cop's name was Pat Nixon.
Yeah,
it was Dorn.
We could say his name.
Pat
Nixon. You suck, man.
The asshole. Anyway, so he goes, "Hey, Pat, man, come on, man, you gotta cool down, cool off, buddy." And he goes, "I'm gonna kill this MFer."
Yeah,
and he's got it. That was my experience that day with this cop. So, and it's like that left a little scar tissue.
That's right. But what I forgave him about that.
Took me a while.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Did you to his face?
No,
No,
I
exactly.
never saw him
'Cause
again.
you
I
were
never
leaving.
wanted. I
Yeah.
never wanted to
I
see
was gonna
him.
say this is that
Uh-uh.
during that time with the Vietnam War and the hippies, right, that were against the war, that had a big movement. A lot of the Vietnam soldiers, if they were able to get out of the military at that time, would go right into law enforcement. Not all of them. A
Yeah,
lot of them
yeah,
went right into the hippie movement. A
right.
lot of the
Yeah,
Vietnam
yeah, because they
soldiers.
saw stuff that they
Yeah, they're like,
they
okay,
they violated their major trust in a big way.
yeah, and they saw their buddies doing things that
Yeah.
are not good.
Oh. Yeah.
But some
Yeah.
of them might not have, and they said, "Oh, we tried our best." They get out, they become a police officer, and not saying that Mr. Nixon, Officer Nixon, was one of these guys, but at that time there was such a big, huge, violent tension between police officers and hippies. That was a real thing, and
Hmm.
the hippie movement was so powerful, and it was also, as you know, there was a lot of grotesqueness to it, right? The hippie movement, when it comes to what I mean by that. Actually, yeah, you know what I mean. It's when they're just like all hanging outside, like 300 people, and just chilling, and nobody's doing nothing. They're just
All we
protesting.
are saying is give peace a chance. Remember
Give
that song?
peace a chance. No.
You know the song that was John Lennon's song.
Oh no, I don't remember that song. I
Yeah,
No. Now I'm wondering if I heard it that I know it. But what other songs came
probably
out
whip
right
it out.
then?
Yeah,
Hippie movement.
what about?
What other songs came out back then?
Oh, there was War. The group
Oh
War.
yeah, War,
Um,
and they came out with the song War. What is it good
yeah,
for? Absolutely
right.
nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Right.
Yeah, that was a good song. Anyways, so you're in the car, you're leaving New Jersey when this happens. When the cop pulls you over.
I wasn't leaving New Jersey.
Oh, you were
I
just
was
hanging
going to
out.
the Jersey Shore
Oh, you were going, okay.
just to kind of get away from studying and just going to where we grew up. That's where we grew up along the Jersey Shore. Just to drive around Belmar and Avon and Spring Lake and Seagirt and
Where did you want to go? I'm going to go back to this. Where in California did you want to go when you decided to actually go? I'm going to California, or were you like, I want to go to Nevada, or was it like, I'm going to California?
no. So my my friend that I was in college
The
with,
same guy,
UC Irvine, is in Orange County,
California.
California.
Okay,
It's not far from Anaheim.
not far from Hollywood.
It's in Newport Beach. So what he did, he rented or leased a apartment in on Balboa Boulevard in Newport Beach, California. And we didn't see it because in those days you didn't have the internet, you didn't have pictures and stuff. He just rented this place. And so when I asked a lot of a lot of my friends' fathers that came back after the Second World War, that were parents of my friends,
Mm-hmm.
and I had asked a couple more Marines and stuff, and they were trained at Camp Pendleton, which is in also in Orange County on the way to San Diego, between L.A. and San Diego, Camp Pendleton on the ocean. They said, "Oh yeah, Southern California, beautiful orange groves. It's kind of like Jersey, except it's even quieter and it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Orange groves everywhere. It's just perfect.
So they painted the perfect
So
picture.
it's like wow.
Yeah.
So when I flew, when we flew that day, it was September 18th, 1973. Yeah, September 18th, 1973, when my friend and I, so that day I went to Belmar, New Jersey, to the ocean early in the morning, swam in the ocean as the sun came up.
Mm-hmm.
Then I took a shower because all the beaches have freshwater showers before you get back onto the boardwalk. So I would take a shower there, got nice and cleaned up, and then I changed clothes. And then I got my suitcase, which I hardly had anything to take with me. I didn't have any much of worldly possessions, just maybe a couple changes of clothes, underwear, and stuff. Got on a plane, and I don't know if you knew who Doc Severinsen was. He was the trumpet player for Johnny Carson show,
Mm-mm.
but that's before your time.
Yeah, but I
Anyway,
get it. Yeah.
so we flew, and
was he there?
he was on a plane.
Okay.
He was well
you saw him
known
at the
on
airport,
TV.
and
He was
he
on
came-
our plane.
Yeah. Okay.
In those days, he was a drunk.
Nice.
So, and he played trumpet. The Johnny Carson show was a late night show, kind of like
Yeah, with Ed.
McMahon.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Ed
Egg
McMahon.
McMahon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Anyway, so our plane had a delay because there was something wrong with one of the fuel flaps wouldn't close all the way, so we had to sit there in the plane for like an hour or so. So the pilot
Must have been Boeing. Go ahead.
something.
I'm
The
just
pilot,
kidding.
pilot came on the captain came on and said, "So, ladies and gentlemen, for you having to wait and stuff, basically all drinks are on the house.
Oh, sweet.
So it's free drinks.
Now you're partying.
So yeah,
It's the best way to go
stupid.
to California.
It was really dumb. So
Yeah.
Doc Severinsen, the trumpet player, was a drunk.
Yeah.
So he got schnockered in first class. We were in the back.
Yeah.
And then he whips out his trumpet and starts playing it.
Oh,
like,
man.
sounded so. We were going, boo, sit down, shut up, you loser. And it was just so, everybody's like schlockered.
Yeah.
So we finally land in LA, the LA airport. And I'm going, that's a city. Okay, I get it. So we get on the bus, and the bus goes to Santa Ana from LA. Well, Santa Ana is about 30 miles south.
Yeah, not far.
On a 405 freeway. So we go from there. We drive. The bus goes through Disneyland. I'm going, okay, Disneyland. I'm looking around. It's like, wow, it's pretty crowded out here.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking for all the orange groves that everybody told me about. This is a freaking city. Even then, it was pretty
They
congested.
cut them all down to build Disneyland.
Yeah. Well, and then we get the Saddleback in on the Santa Ana freeway. The Santa Ana freeway goes way to past Anaheim, way farther east, and then it's a east-west, and it ends up going to Newport Beach area, Costa Mesa. Anyway, I'm sitting there looking at it. It was rush hour traffic, and I'm sitting there, and it's bumper-to-bumper traffic. And back in those days, because they didn't have all the pollution controls on the car, the air was brown, like dark brown. It was nasty, and you can only see 2 miles with all the cars disappearing.
Real smog.
And I'm asking somebody, I'm tired as hell from being on a plane. Didn't get much sleep the night before. And I'm looking and going, so where the hell is, I asked somebody, where's Newport? And the guy goes, nah, about 8 miles that way. And I'm looking at the freeway, and it's bumper to bumper traffic all the way down that way, 8 miles. I'm thinking, how in 8 miles is it going to change from freeway with the cluster F on the freeway
and smog,
and smog and stinky air, and it's going to turn into beautiful orange groves and real quiet, because it was in September, right when school started. Everybody's back at school, and on the East Coast in Jersey, the Jersey Shore, in the summer times, all the New Yorkers would come down and they would rent all the little town beach houses and stuff. They would ruin the Jersey Shore in the summertime, and then when they went home, we went, thank God. We called them the Bennies, right? The New Yorkers is like, get out of here, you don't belong here attitude. And I thought the same thing there. So we ended up getting a taxi from Saddleback Inn, drove to Newport Beach on Balboa Boulevard. Balboa and 17th Street is where we rented that apartment upstairs.
So you called it in for a rent already. You already had somewhere.
It was already paid for. My friend paid for that.
Yeah, that's good.
He paid for my ticket. He says, I'm not going to California unless you come with me. So I'll pay 6 months room and board and the ticket, and then you transfer to UC Irvine with me, because I don't want to go by myself.
Yeah.
And I figured, why wouldn't I say yes? I needed a change of scenery.
Yeah, you
I
couldn't
need to get
wait.
out of here, and I
Also,
want to see what
6 months
California
of
looks
room and
like.
board.
Yeah.
Freaking
So he
sweet.
paid everything.
Yeah.
So it was
Great.
easy decision to make.
Okay, so
So I got there.
yeah.
I'm looking around, and Balboa Boulevard. It went north south all the way on the Balboa Peninsula, Newport Beach, all the way to Corona del Mar on the Corona del Mar is on the other side of the inlet to go into Newport Bay.
When you're here, is the smog gone? Is the traffic gone yet or not yet?
What do you mean?
When you're at this apartment,
No,
okay, keep going, keep
no,
going.
it was nasty.
Yeah, you were hoping.
So anyway, here's a little. I'll try to make it real quick.
No, it's okay.
So we get there, and I'm going, this place, ew. And the apartment was nice, but it's like, it's like it's the beach. Okay, so we got our suitcases upstairs, and then we walk down to the beach, and there's the beach. So I figured, okay, it's getting ready. So the sun comes up on the East Coast in the ocean. So I
Yes.
watched the sun rise in
all the
Jersey.
time. Yeah,
And then when I was in California,
it drops.
it's ready to sink into the ocean. So I figured, I got up this morning, I swam in the Atlantic Ocean when the sun was coming up.
Which is really cool.
I'm
That's
swimming
really
now
cool.
in the Pacific Ocean with the sun going down.
That is really cool.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
So then,
And you've never seen a sunset in your life?
not in the ocean.
No.
Never.
No.
But it sets in the ocean.
Have you ever been to California before?
No.
That's what I mean. You've never seen it.
Nah.
Oh, I guess you've seen it set past your city, but that's it.
Yeah,
You've
where I
never
grew up
seen
in
it
Shark
through
River
the-
Hills, I could see the sunset
Yes.
on the far end of the river.
Yeah,
We could see the sunset
but never an ocean
over
sunset.
Camp
Always-
Evans.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
So that was then. It was only like 2 weeks later when the Santa Ana winds blew. Santa Ana winds would blow from the east to the west. So all the smog that had accumulated against the San Gabriel Mountains, which is the southern part of the Sierra Nevada, the mountain range that goes by LA and Orange County. There's a Saddleback Mountain in Tustin or some Santa Ana or I forget exactly what town the Saddleback Mountain is.
Yeah, I'm not
But you would
sure.
never see the mountain, Saddleback Mountain, because there's too much smog.
Yeah.
Only when you had the Santa Ana winds, or they call them the Santana winds, but we always
Yeah.
call them the Santa Ana winds. It would blow all that smog and blow way out into the ocean. And all of a sudden, you would see things that the
You've never
smog
seen.
covered up.
Yeah.
So what it did is I'm swimming in the ocean one morning. I was kind of learning how to surf, but I sucked at it.
Yeah.
And there's another young guy, surfer, sitting there. We're talking, and he was sitting there with a surfboard, and I was in the water, and I looked up and I went, whoa! And all of a sudden there was this island, and I went,
cool.
holy crap! Right?
Like 2 miles away or what?
No, it was about, I think it's 15 miles away.
Yeah.
What's the name of that island? It's Avalon, Catalina Island. That's what it's called. Catalina Island.
Which is super, super fancy.
And yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's okay. And then the other side is kind of rough. The western side of the island. But anyway, I didn't know there was an island out there because the first 2 weeks when I was there swimming in the water, you wouldn't see it because the smog covered it. So I thought, just like in Jersey.
Do you also in the? I've never been to South California. I'm a Northern California guy in the woods. We got big forests out here as far as you can see. But in Southern California, is it like San Francisco also? Does it also have like fog in the mornings?
No.
Oh,
Well,
okay. Maybe
no.
not, 'cause it's more tropical. It's just smog.
It would have an inversion layer
Yeah.
that a lot of times, especially in the summertime in June and July, the sun wouldn't come out when you lived at the beach. It wasn't from fog like it is in Northern California. It would basically be, there was always a cloud layer that always made it look like it was cloudy because it was. The sun wouldn't burn off until about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then it was super nice.
Yeah.
but it would always be kind of cloudy in the morning. I think it still is. It's basically part of nature. But so when I was swimming underwater, I always swim with my eyes open when I'm in salt water. I saw these sharks and I freaked out. And then I popped up and I saw an island that really freaked me out. So I ran back to this guy sitting there with his surfboard. I said, "Dude, do you see that? I mean, whoa!" It's like where'd this come from?
Wait, what was it again? Oh, the island.
It was Catalina Island.
Yeah. Okay.
Crystal clear because the Santa Ana winds blew all the smog out.
Yeah.
He sat there and he said, he goes, "Hey, dude, you got any more of that shit?" It's like, I'm thinking, what?
You're like, no, it's not
like
that, man. He's like, you're like, really? There's an island right
yeah.
there.
He goes,
And that guy lived there his whole life. He's like, yeah,
he
I know
knows
that.
there's an island there. It's like he's going, wow, man, you got more of that shit?
Yeah,
It's like,
he's like, you're a newbie, is what you are. So, anyway, so
that was funny. And the sharks were sand sharks,
oh, that's awesome.
and they weren't. They were.
They're not aggressive.
No.
You could eat them.
Yeah, they were actually
very,
yummy.
Very good. Yeah,
They're yummy, sweet.
There's a spot in San Francisco where you could go around, kind of like by Stinson Beach, and get sand sharks.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you did that. So that time you saw, for the first time, the possible real beauty of California.
Yeah, very pretty.
Yeah, very.
Yeah,
pretty.
I mean, if you go, so that's where I met my wife in Newport.
Oh, okay.
She lived across the street. I would watch her with her daughter.
Yep.
Walking back and forth, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to go into that story because it's nobody's business.
Right.
But that's where I met her, and I.
This is my grandma-in-law he's talking about.
That's right. You better watch yourself.
That's right. Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, the thing I loved and I hated, because I had a love-hate. Then it was very congested. Too many people in too small of an area. Southern California. It's 3 times worse. The population has tripled since we moved out of there in 1978, because my youngest daughter was 4 months old. Yeah, 4 months old when we moved north. Yeah. So anyway, in that time till now, and that was the late 70s to now, what's that, about 50 years, almost 50 years, 48 years, the population in Southern California has tripled.
It's wild.
You talk about congestion.
Yeah.
It is worse.
So the reason I've never been there, I'm 44 years old, I said that earlier, but the reason I've never been to LA, I think I've been there once, but the reason I've never been back is I remember the grapevine. I remember the hideousness of the roadways. It's not that they were dirty. They were so huge. Yeah. I just remember the highways being so wide.
Oh yeah, there was like 8 lanes or something in one direction.
It was like I was on Venus or something. It was like a really like whatever. A weird, ugly sight when I was very young, and it's probably when we went to Disneyland. And then going through some of the cities, not even like LA or nothing like that, but just some cities, and going, oh, this is too much for me. And that's just how I felt when I went to New York. Because me and Tony Costantino went to New York for 10 or 13 days or something like that. And we were in Manhattan most of the time. And
you ran through Central Park, you said.
I went through Central Park early in the morning, 3 a.m. Where the cops, the horseback cops said, I wouldn't do that if I were you. We wouldn't do that, And anyways, we'll talk about that story one day. It's a great story.
That's a great story.
But anyways, so I've been, New York, Times Square. We went to all the most popular places because we wanted to see the most popular places. Where now that I'm older, if I went up to like Buffalo, there's probably pretty little quaint places that aren't as nasty. New York is very valuable because
New York City,
like when you go there, even Manhattan, it's just even Times Square. It's like when you go there, the hustle and bustle is the thing that's actually really cool and really scary and really nasty
it's
all
overwhelming.
at the same time. Way overwhelming.
Yeah.
And when you meet these people that are all jerks, they have a knee jerk reaction to yell at you or point at you or shove you aside or this or that. Um, you get it. You're like, of course you're like that. You live here, And so when I went over to Southern California that one time, I'm like, I'm not coming back here. This is way too much for me. But we did visit. We did visit. The wife and I and the kids went to San Francisco very recently, and we went to Chinatown. Zero homeless.
Hmm.
There, we actually on purpose looked for homeless, which might sound cruel, but that's what we were doing. It was kind of fun. Like, where is this guy? Where's this homeless person? Where's this group of homeless people? The dogs. But anyways, there was no homeless people to see anywhere. And what the fact is that they're deeper in town, like deeper in the city.
Yeah, they're more on the Oakland side too.
Though I heard Oakland's very, very messed up now.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that's for another time. But so where did you go when you first went north? Were you planning on Placerville or that area or no?
We went.
Were you planning on this area?
So my wife and I both worked for the state hospital system, California State Hospital System in Southern California. A lot of our friends had transferred up to Sonoma, California, in Sonoma County, which is north of San Francisco.
Yeah, like Napa, Sonoma.
Yeah, Napa, Sonoma. So they also worked at the state hospital down in Southern California, Fairview State Hospital, and a couple other facilities. So we both had our licenses. My wife's a nurse and a psych tech. I have a psych tech license at that time. And so it's like, well, we can transfer. So we both transferred up to Sonoma State Hospital, got a job, and rented a place in Sonoma downtown. Nice little quaint place.
Was the state hospital for the criminally insane?
The Napa State Hospital, it was for the criminally insane, for all kinds of different really crazy.
Yeah, I've been to that
major
Tony
crazy.
Costantino was in there for 15 years.
Oh,
good
your friend?
Story. Yeah, good story.
For what?
Very good story.
Oh,
you got to interview me next time. It'll be great.
Yeah, wow.
But anyways, that whole area is awesome. It's like Napa, Sonoma. Some of the biggest, football stars of the West Coast live in Sonoma. It's a beautiful, beautiful place.
It's a beautiful place. I mean, it was more beautiful then than it is now.
Yeah,
it's overbuilt.
And burnt.
It's funny that back in the day when I was young, my brother and I, we would play a couple games, and I think in a comic book we saw Napa, Sonoma, Mendocino written together. So I don't know why we did this. We would just to kind of get a little. We would look at each other and go, Napa, Sonoma, Mendocino, like that. And it's like I didn't know. What did that mean?
Yeah.
What is that? I didn't know Napa was a place, Sonoma was a place, Mendocino was like Napa, Sonoma, Mendocino.
Well, that's like when me
really
and Sam and Michael were kids. There was a kid, and I'll say his name because together it's a great name. And this person was always good person. So if you're out there, much love to you. His first name was Warren, right? Regular handsome name. His last name was Ninini, literally. So maybe that's Italian or something. I don't know. But his name was Warren Ninini. And so we would, if somebody's being a dork, we got stop being such a Warren Ninini. And that's just the same thing. It's so stupid. But that's what boys do. We make up words. Isaiah does the same thing. He just makes up these stupid words. It's fun.
It's kind of why make everything smart? Sometimes it's really dumb. You got
being goofy. There's really importance to comedic relief. But anyways, so you were working in Sonoma at the state hospital.
Yes. We both worked in different departments. I worked on the deaf and blind unit at Sonoma State Hospital. There is a lot of stories about that, working in the state hospital system with some of those people there, deaf and blind and retarded.
Now, when you say retarded, you're talking about Down syndrome.
There was some Down syndrome. There were cases of at birth a lack of oxygen that scrambled the brain a little bit.
So they were oxygen retarded.
Some of them.
So back in the day, retarded was not a bad word. It always had
Now
kind
it's
of a negative
they call it
connotation.
developmentally disabled.
Well, I know now, but I'm
Yeah,
saying,
right.
but back then, in the '90s, retard. If somebody was retarded, actually, it was somebody that was specifically Down syndrome. Back maybe in the early '80s or the late '70s, did retarded kind of encompass a couple things or something like that? That's what I'm
Yeah,
wondering.
well, yeah. There's all kinds of things that mess with the brain and its functioning and be able to have a human being function with speech,
Mm-hmm.
coordination, eye-hand coordination, um, communication. So there's different degrees. There's some that are higher functioning that can have a conversation. Nowadays it's what do they call it? You're on a spectrum,
Right.
right? So you have what's it called again? It's
Autism.
Autism.
Mhm.
Duh. Hello.
Hello.
The different
Do you
degrees
know
of
any?
what?
I mean, you have some family members. We
Yeah.
both do.
Yeah.
And
So
so there's different degrees.
it's
high
it's an interesting
performing
study because back in the day, you say somebody's retarded, it's like it's easy just to kind of put them in put it in the same hole and say it's good, but no, there's so many different degrees of it and reasons for it.
Yeah,
and
retarded
things.
how? I mean, that's the question.
Yeah,
Back in the day,
biochemistry, the brain chemistry, through certain diseases and different things, drowning victims that are brought back again. Basically they have
lost
the
some brain.
deprivation of
Yeah.
oxygen to their brain.
God, it's a bummer.
There's all kinds of different birth defects. It's all over the map. Some of the most interesting human beings that I ever met in my life, bar none, are in that category.
Yep.
Because the human soul comes through no matter what, no matter how debilitated they are and how lacking they are as far as what we take for granted to communicate and all that stuff.
Person, no matter
They
what.
communicate. You have to dial yourself. You don't dial yourself way down on your. You have to be more attentive to the
You gotta dial
subtleties.
yourself up to hear.
You have to reach them on their level, which means you have to you have to just shut up
Yeah.
and don't try to figure it out. You have to listen to the cues or watch the cues, and everybody's different. So if you spend time with them, which I did, and I enjoyed the heck out of them, in order to communicate with them, they do a lot of times through different senses, through touch, through noises. I would get some of these suckers. I mean, they're deaf and blind.
Yeah.
Deaf and blind already doesn't work. It doesn't help them.
Yeah.
I would
deaf, can't hear, and can't see.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
But they can feel by touch. You can also have sound vibrations through music.
Yeah.
They can feel that.
Yep.
And then with touch.
Wow.
And I spent some time with these suckers, man. I tell you, at first I'm thinking they're like just stinking amoebas. I mean, there's like, what are you going to do with that? I mean, it's not that I'm having an attitude. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this other than you clean them up, you make sure they're fed, you take care of their basic needs.
That is so sad. Too.
Change their clothes. Yeah. However,
but
and it's not for there's a small. I enjoyed it. You can get a job doing it, just like in nursing homes and stuff. You may not have you'll do the job, but your soul isn't there.
Yeah,
you're not the servant.
My wife is a servant.
Yes.
Easily, without
you have
trying.
to have a servant's heart
to be able to make any kind of good difference.
If you don't, you're just doing a job and you don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You still do a good job, but it's a servant's heart.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I could relate to those guys.
Yeah.
In that there was something there that I struggled with that I found pure. They're pure.
Right.
They don't have the ability to jive, to put shucking and
some of
jiving.
them don't have the ability for evil in any kind of way.
No.
Some of them, but there are some that really, really do.
Oh,
Right?
of course. And then now you're talking a whole nother spectrum.
That's what I'm saying. Though.
Yeah.
There is that.
When you work for the criminally insane stuff,
that's different. Yes.
You see some really and yeah. So
yes.
Most in this category, the ability to have evil or whatever you want to call it come
very
through
rare.
Is there's the human spirit still. We are flawed.
Right. Yeah.
Right. We're a sin nature and all that. So we're not perfect. So that always comes through on some level. However, most of them are they're not messed up. They have very little. So if you give them something, you give them more, they appreciate it
a lot more than
and they enjoy the heck out of it. And you can see the joy and the love, even though they can't communicate that as far as, hey, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
They sense it, they feel it, and you get that reward and that connection with them. And these suckers would know that I'm there because I'm a Neanderthal. I walk in a room, I'm loud. They can hear, they can feel the vibrations of, because I got a big mouth. They feel it. They can know when I'm there. They sit there and go, oh. They start laughing. A lot of them go like this.
They know.
Like that.
They're about to get.
And it's like, we're going to have fun today.
Yep, that's right.
But the thing that pissed off the administration, the director of the units, and the people that worked with them is I would get them wound up.
Oh,
they wanted them subdued because it's easier to take care of them. And I had a group of 26. So I had two groups. The first group I had when I had my idea because my wife worked PM shift. I would go there at 5 o'clock in the morning, get the first group up. There were they were little children. A lot of them were ambulatory, which means they can walk. Some of them weren't. You had to change their diapers. A lot of them, had diapers, and there were cloth diapers back in the day. I don't know what they use now, but cloth diapers. So you get them up, and I had I think there was 30 in this group. I had to get them up out of bed. A lot of them, the night shift, if somebody peed and pooped themselves, they would bring in another blanket and put it over the bed so they didn't have to deal with it. So they could go and sleep. So the night shift could sleep because they didn't do their job. So I'd get these children up, give them showers, the ones that needed showers, that they pooped themselves or whatever, change their clothes, and then I would march them into the dining room. And a lot of times you line them up 5 at a time, and they'd have one hand on the shoulder of the person in front of them because they were blind.
Yeah. Jeez, man.
And then I would lead the first one. And a lot of times they were so used to the routines that the lead person would just walk in, and then you go, they could feel that, and they'd stop.
But you don't do that to their head.
No, I just would clap. No, never hit them.
Anyway, so you'd clap loud, they could feel the...
Yeah, they'd stop.
Yeah,
boom.
they know.
And then you'd have to lead them to their seats, sit them down. Anyway, I did that before I went to my group. My group were a little older guys, teenagers and stuff. And I had this one guy, Donnie Webb, who knew how to talk. He's a black guy, had no eyes.
Yeah.
He was born without eyes.
Yep, just big skin sockets.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah,
skin
I've
sockets.
seen that. Yeah.
And I loved Donnie Webb. And he called me Mr. Will. He goes, "How you doing? How you doing this morning, Mr. Will?" He'd do that. I loved that guy. He'd always give me hugs. So back in the day, he had a nice head of hair. So I worked with him long enough, so I always brought in the pick.
That's awesome.
Let him grow. I made him, got his fro out this big, and I'd say, "Shake your head, Donnie," and he'd go, "Oh, I like it, Miss Will. I love it. I love it." He bounces with his fro back and forth. Guy was great. He loved washing his face.
Oh, that's awesome.
When I got in that group, I got them all trained to brush their own teeth, to go to the bathroom, to change their clothes. Some of them still had, the different levels, but I trained them to take care of themselves so that they can do basics, self skills. And And you had to reach each one at a different level. This one would respond to this. That one wouldn't respond to that, but you respond to something else.
Yeah.
So, and that was the challenge, and I enjoyed it.
That is a good challenge.
It's a great job.
Yes.
There
Trying
were
to get people
some
interested in something they're not
There's some
interested
real
in.
jerks.
Yeah, of course.
Some real jerks. There's one
they got
guy
treated like crap.
Yeah, I mean,
Many times.
The institutionalized.
Oh, big and back then, don't you want to watch the World Series? That's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's.
Oh yeah.
Don't you want to watch the World Series?
Yeah.
Real quick, institutionalized. I'm just thinking how sad it could be, and then somebody like you goes in, or like the wife would deal with certain people, and they finally get a little care, and then with you, it's different because they live here. That's the whole thing. It's not like a patient in the hospital.
This is
literally somebody who lives in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
They are imprisoned in that spot to a degree, and they used to get treated like prisoners. And just like some of the nurses that you'd have to clean up after because they wouldn't do their job. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, it's basically they approach it for convenience with a herd mentality.
Right.
You would just herd them.
Yes, you just get them.
And you do the same thing over and over and over again for everybody. You don't meet them where they're at because it's inconvenient.
Yep.
It takes work. So ain't nobody got time for that. It's like type of attitude. It's like, well, and that's unfortunately it's in the nursing homes today. It's in patient care today. You're basically just another number, like trying to get a hold of a doctor and stuff. You're basically, what's your insurance number, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, next, they don't know, it ain't not, because it's overwhelming. You want to get a doctor's appointment, you're 2-3 months out. I got an issue I want to have addressed today.
Right.
Well, then you go to the emergency room. There you're herded also, because now you're sitting for 3 hours before anybody gets to see you.
So, when did you have the inclination to move towards? Because we're almost out of time, but I want to wrap up the California movement. How you got here and how you ended up specifically in Northern California. So, when you were in Sonoma working at the state hospitals, what made you two, say, let's go up higher? I mean, let's go work.
So had I stayed the course, I could have easily have retired in my early 40s.
For sure, yeah.
With a nice fat pension.
Mm-hmm.
Had I stayed the course. Had my wife stayed the course also, we could have both have retired. And we would be making, between the two of us right now, easily $150,000 a year.
Wow.
Without doing anything.
I know.
And probably even more.
And that's what a state pension does, especially back then.
Yes.
Yep.
And you have your medical and everything covered and all that stuff back in the day.
Yeah.
However, I'm not going to go into the battles I had with the administrative side of the equation, but because there were a couple instances that I'm not going to go into because I would expose a little bit too much, and it's not necessary. However, I saw that I cannot sustain my vocation or my professional life in that type of configuration at any level and degree that I had obtained at the time. Without the only way you can sustain that, what I wanted to do and the level I was at, was you had to become part of them, become a good old boy just to stay long enough to work yourself up to where now you can say, forget it, I'm not doing this stuff anymore. But you're violating a lot of what I would be violating a lot of things I believed in. The battle cannot be fought on the lower levels, the lower echelons of a system within an institution and it's the same today politically, no matter where you go, or corporation. You go along with it, you work yourself up through the ranks, and then maybe if you haven't been totally devoured and totally messed up, and 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 become in lockstep with the evil empire of what they are. That's the only time, if you can stay in and not lose yourself in the process, that's when you can now make changes. And I said forget about it. So I thought, you know what, I'm getting out of this. I'm going to go into start my own business and get out of it and just hang up my shield and just forget about it. And that's what I did. Done.
And the wife stayed in nursing. Totally.
And she stayed in nursing, and
she still is.
She still is, but
wild.
she backed off for a while because we had young children, so she stayed at home mom.
Oh, for a little while. Okay.
For about
how old is
8
Grandma
years.
Bonnie?
How old is she now?
Yeah.
76.
76 years old, still serving.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, teaching.
She's teaching people to become CNAs, right?
Yeah, and the license and keeping the licenses up to speed.
So she's still in the game. So my question is, when did you decide to go towards this county?
When my in-laws moved from Southern California and bought a mobile home in Diamond Springs, California.
That's what I've never heard before. Okay.
So when they moved, because they wanted to be closer, but so they decided to so they were 2 hours away in Diamond Springs to Sonoma. So we did that back and forth. And then they said, hey, we found a place up in Grizzly Flat. And I went, Grizzly Flat? Where the heck is that? So we went up there. The first time I drove up there, I got up to
driving forever.
Driving
That's how
forever.
it feels when you first drive out to Grizzly Flats, where the Caldor fire was. But when you first drive out there on a new road that might be a little windy, it always feels like forever.
Well, I got to Somerset, the four-way stopped in Somerset, and I went, how far is Grizzly from here? Oh, it's another 8 miles or 6 miles, whatever it is, up the road. And I'm going, oh, hell no.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Never. A month later, July 1st, 1979, we moved into our house up in Grizzly.
That's crazy.
On Meadow Glen Drive, 4985 Meadow Glen Drive.
Write him. Send him some mail. He loves you all.
It's burned down. It's completely gone. Everything there is dust.
Oh, that's right. It's not on Meadow Glen.
Everything.
I forgot that you lived in that one house.
Our children's youth, where they grew up and all that stuff.
That burnt. I forgot that you lived in a house before the one you live in now. For some reason, you said Meadow Glen. I'm like, yeah, your house. No.
And plus, we owned a couple other houses back in the day. Up there.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, okay.
That's all.
We're gonna come back to certain aspects of your life. I'm gonna share a little bit of mine. I think this next.
Yeah, I want to hear about Tony Costantino.
Yeah.
Costantino.
Yeah, best friend. But it's just the greatest things, to live a life of. When I was a little kid, my boy came home and he's got, he's like, I got 3s on my report card and O's. I remember these things, and I'm like, oh yeah, 3s and O's. I remember that. And he said, I feel bad about my, this girl in my class because she got N's. And I'm like, I used to only get N's. He's like, what? And I'm like, I never had good grades. I remember in 7th grade, I had straight F's and 1 D.
Oh, congratulations. You are really dumb.
Yeah, dumb. And the whole thing with me is, I knew from an early age that school, how it was, what didn't suit me. Too late, I went through life, and that ship sailed. But while I was there in life, it just didn't suit me. I hated it. The teaching, the huge classroom with a lot of kids. I learned more when I was 28 to 30 to 35-ish. Than I ever learned in school. And I'm still learning way more.
So you finally learned to write your name when you were 28?
Yes, finally. Well, Brittany made me get she said, get your GED. You could get a better job with a GED. And I was so scared because I'm like, I'm not. And I go to take my GED and I get 98%.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not, you're pretty smart.
Thank you. but I thought that I wasn't pretty smart. But anyway, so you just never know what
They
kind of
call that the
challenges.
sheepskin psychosis.
That's right. And I had
Yeah.
a big sheepskin. But anyways, so we'll get there. Popa, I love you. I think this was a really good, valuable podcast because I want your story on record because it's interesting. And, I want to hear some stories of the back and forth banter with your mom and you because it's just the funniest listening.
Yeah, and I don't think it violates anything that I've done in my life, so that I haven't exposed anything that's like, uh-oh.
No,
No,
it doesn't even matter.
it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah,
none of your
that's
business.
yeah, and even the stuff that we do expose, like I'm going to, it's really important for you to know if you have young kids, young boys, that you never know the route they'll take. As much as you love them, just be there for them until they grow up as an adult. And if you stick around and don't just kick them out, and say, you suck, I never want to talk to you again. And you treat your kids like they're your kids, no matter what they're going through, but you still give them discipline or just like good talks of motivation when they're going through really tough stuff, they will come through.
Yeah,
So
and then once in a while you got to pound them
and sometimes
in love.
Sometimes you got to use your hands and
come on,
throw them through the wall.
That works. Worked for me.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. We love you guys. This is Popa. I'm Eric Frankie.
That's Eric.
And subscribe, like, comment, do all the stuff that you know how to do. We're just starting out here. So the stuff that you know how to do it. All right. We love you. Peace.
Auf Wiedersehen.